LinkedIn Live. Today's special subject is content strategy and really understanding what it takes to be a star on LinkedIn by just watching how you do your content and doing it in a way that really addresses your short term and long term goals. What do I mean by that? Well, content is king, and it's all relative to who you want to be relevant to. So if you have a target audience, which you should, based on who you feel you're most aligned with professionally, and what value of service do you bring that would attract people in your target group to want to do business with you. Now, with content, it can be as simple as posting your thoughts every day, or it could be a little bit more comprehensive and you take advantage of various opportunities on LinkedIn, which is your content and how it's distributed. And I think this is key. Content without audience is just as good as audience with no content. They all have to come together the right way for you to be as effective and really gain a competitive advantage on LinkedIn. So you could, what I did, and this is content. When I first got on LinkedIn, my content was my comments. I knew better than to assume I knew better than people who are already doing this. So what I did is I kind of just drove around the LinkedIn neighborhood and saw where the traffic was, where all the activity was, and where all the excitement was. And it was usually around someone who knew what they were doing, posted really quality content that was relevant, and in addition, was consistent. Most of the people had the most traffic, most activity were daily posters or publishers. And with that said, dependability, reliability, accessibility all fit into your distribution and content strategy. So, getting to the different parts of this is you can use commenting like I did. And what happens, and it was kind of lucky for me, is I was just commenting to learn and to meet people who were also in that group. What was tremendous is in certain individuals' content, they would tag a lot of people, usually 10, 15, 20. And if you don't know what tagging is, what you do is you highlight someone's name on LinkedIn with the little at sign in front of it. That will make it bold. What it'll also do is alert that person that you tagged them, and it'll alert them where you tagged them. This gives them an opportunity to at least know they've been recognized, but more importantly, unless someone's watching their feed all the time, they have no knowledge that if you just included them in a post and didn't highlight them, they wouldn't be notified and they couldn't respond. There's another aspect of responding. The more people respond in a smaller period of time, the more relevant it looks to LinkedIn and they expand your audience. A misnomer is when you publish, it goes to everybody in your group. It only goes to 5 or 10%, and then LinkedIn watches it. If it has relevancy beyond your everyday group and it has some legs and runs, which will get you some viral exposure, you're going to get bigger audiences. So there's a trick to that. Cover that on another LinkedIn Live. Getting back to content strategy, after commenting enough days, I kind of saw what everybody else was commenting. You got to keep your eyes open on LinkedIn. There's a lot going on. If you got tunnel vision or blinders on, you're going to miss it and you're not going to get your full opportunity. After commenting 3-4 times over 3-4 days, the person would have to, if nothing else but guilt, recognize you and say, hey, wow, that's great. Thanks so much, blah, blah, blah. What you want to do to accelerate that activity is be the best commenter of the day. Everything's visible, everything's transparent. You can see what everybody's doing and do better. And if you're one step better than everybody else over time, you're going to elevate yourself above the crowd. Well, after commenting and getting recognition, it just made sense that once I learned what best practices, what got the most activity, how people did things, I started to post. Not only did I start to post, I posted every day, and I had a goal to go from about 3,000 connections that I had to 25,000 in just 4 months. And you know what happened? I hit 30,000. I was gaining 1,500 to 2,000 connections a week for 16 weeks based on inclusion, based on projection, based on expansion. I was tagging 100 people a day. LinkedIn gives you about 150 tags. I had to keep like 50 just to respond to them again. And it really is kind of a reciprocal opportunity. So once you get to posting, you get comfortable with that, you start adding another layer. This is not an either or opportunity. This is an either and. Got my commenting going, got my tagging going, got my posting going. And then I decided to continue to recognize people. And what I learned on LinkedIn, there's three things that you really have an opportunity for. That's educating, entertaining, and inspiring. So I came up with something in each one of those groups to make my post every day. And I ran the same format for like 8 months, and it was gangbusters. It just blew up, and it gained a following. And that's where bringing people together, collaborating makes so much sense. So based on that, what I did is I tried to then distill the people I connected with into smaller groups. And I'll get into that in another LinkedIn Live as far as collaboration groups, which are not engagement groups. Getting back to content strategy, then I started to do video. I started to co-promote with other people. What was really hot was recognizing somebody every day. So my post, getting back to my content, was 5 tips a day, 5 quotes a day. So 5 tips for education, 5 quotes for inspiration. And then I featured somebody every day who I was tagging as the connection of the day, which is recognition, because there's different audiences. There's 810 million people on LinkedIn. There's an audience for everything and for every niche. It's more important to niche than to expand too far and be a generalist who no one really fully understands what you do, how you do it, and why they should do anything with you. So be clear, be consistent. Now, the other big takeaway is come up with a content calendar. There's nothing wrong with looking out for 30 days and saying, what do I want to do every day in relationship to what I want to achieve this month? And is this enough activity to support it? If it isn't, you got to up your game. Better to see the results before you have to go to work on them than afterwards, because then you've lost time. And the whole strategy has to be based on plan, do, review, plan, do, review. So again, another reciprocal relationship on LinkedIn is what you do gets what you get back from what you do. If it's quality and positive and growing, you're on the right road. If you're not getting anything, it's because you're not bringing enough value to the table. What you have to understand, it's not about you, it's about them, and then it becomes about you. And so, what kind of you are you bringing to the game? Is that your best you, or is it like mail it in, put a hook in the water, hope for the best? Well, if you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it'll pay you like a business. If you bought a franchise and spent $1 million, your life savings in it, how hard would you work to make sure it was successful? I guarantee you, before you hire people, you'll be doing it yourself. Before you be sitting at home TV, you'll be back at the office or back at the location, and you would make it happen because you got so much going. People go to LinkedIn and they do a little work and expect a lot in a short period of time, and they get grossly disappointed. They came in with the wrong mindset. And that's why commenting first, gaining respect and appreciation, and people will have phone calls with people they've had relationships with, interactions with, support with, because now you're a peer. If you just come in cold and reach out to somebody, the question is, who are you? What are you? Why are you? And why should I spend any time with you? Why not take those reservations, that potential skepticism, cynicism, whatever you're dealing with, distrust, and eliminate it from the get-go? And that separates you from the crowd. So really, you should get with someone who knows what they're doing and can show you what they're doing and show you what they're getting and show you that you could do the same thing if you do the same thing they do the same way. I've got new coaching programs, one-on-one, giving 20% off right now. It's a soup to nuts, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, 30-day plan. And I've got my collaboration group that I'm giving 20% off. So if you're interested in joining forces, getting into the fast lane with proven strategies and somebody like me who can guide you through it and get you to where you want to go. So thank you again for tuning in. I'm doing this every day. I post it every day for 1,000 days. This is definitely a marathon and not a sprint. And the way to get through it is to enjoy it, is to do things that are fulfilling with people who make you better for being with them and vice versa. Like I say, if you've been in the field for 1,000 days straight, you see the good, the bad, the ugly, and you start formulating the best of the best. And then you use LinkedIn to amplify your message. I'm doing 2 LinkedIn Lives a day, including my post every day. I've got 2 collaboration groups. I'm doing a LinkedIn Live with Mike Weiss on Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It's growing. We got a mastermind group we just launched with that for 2 weeks ago. So I wouldn't be talking so enthusiastically if I wasn't really experienced what I'm talking about. And you could be there tomorrow. So anyways, if you liked it, comment. I love feedback. Go to my profile if we're not connected. Send me a connection request. If you know anybody who could use this, share that I'm on every day, and share the video if you think it could help somebody. And in turn, that's one way of being reciprocal, because if you start sharing this video, people find it quality, they're going to remember where they got it from, and you're going to create a little bit of an obligation that one day will be supported. So I could talk forever, and I will. But in the meantime, for now, I'll have to say goodbye, wishing everybody a wonderful day, and take my advice, put it to work, and let me hear how it went.